Has Palworld consumed your every waking hour when you're not working or sleeping? Yeah, me too. But there are lots of things that aren't explained very clearly that we're all figuring out together, like how to efficiently use your pals at base. I'm here to share the best tips I've discovered so far to help you lower your grind without tweaking your settings. There's also a bonus one at the end, so make sure to stick around. Let's learn first about how to look and see what jobs your pals are good at on base. Go to your pal box, hover over a pal, then hit F and it will open up this menu with all the information you could need. Look on the right side under Work Suitability, and this will tell you how proficient your pals are at certain jobs. Some have multiple, some only have one, and they can be different levels. The higher level it is, the faster they will work, which will be amazing for farming certain materials, like ingots. It is possible to level up these work suitabilities by using a PAL Essence Condenser. How it works is you have to sacrifice 4 pals of the same kind and it will award you a blue star for your pal. Once you hit 4 stars, the work suitability will go up by 1. This can be a long way to get a lower level worker up to higher grades, but it is an option. At the end of the day, you can have a total of 3 bases, so it's best to split up what you're doing in each one for different farms. So it's crucial to pay attention to what job each pal can do so that you have them at the base best meant for their specialties. For example, a dig choice is your number 1 pal for mining ore, or a rush ore does amazing with stone. Capardy is great for planting, so on and so on. More powerful pals you will find later will naturally have higher work suitability numbers and will likely replace your older workers. Prompted by the tutorial, you will likely have a statue of power in your camp. If you start finding pal souls, you can interact with the statue and buff some stats for your pal, such as HP, attack, and defense, but there's one more: work speed. If you have a pal that you really think is just super proficient, you can pump some souls into their work speed and watch as things get done so much faster. You can actually get these souls back by going through the reset section. Just be ready to cough up some coin for it. Not every pal you catch is going to have the kind of passive skills you're looking for, which means you're just going to need to have a lot of pal spheres in order to mass catch until you find what you're looking for. Thankfully, there's a very easy way to farm for pal spheres. All you need to be is level 5, unlock the ranch, and catch a few Vixies. They will go into the ranch to graze, and they will give you not only spheres, but arrows, which are just as useful for early game. You'll also want a ranch for later in the game when you unlock breeding so that you can have constant access to eggs and milk to help make cakes, which will be a very necessary item for that. But wait, the range can do even more. See this cat-like pal here, the Mao? Grab some of them out of dungeons and then throw them into the ranch and watch it rain. They will give you coin and you will have a nice steady supply so that you can buy whatever items you need from merchants that you don't necessarily feel like farming for. Most of you have probably heard by now how to automate your pal's feeding schedule. Build a couple berry fields, have a feed box, make sure that you have pals that can plant, water, gather, and transport. I want to focus on that last part though, your transport pals. If you want to stay organized, make sure to build a box right beside each areas where you will have them picking up things for you and they will place it in the nearest box. For your fields of food, keep your feed box right next to it. For later bases where you'll have automated ore farming, keep a box close so that all your ore is in the same place. It'll just help keep things a little tidier so you don't spend ages digging through box after box looking for stuff. Some of your pals that have multiple jobs they can do may sometimes get distracted and wander off to help with other tasks, but what if you wanted them to stay on the one they were on? Simple. Just pick them up and throw them back where you want them. So long as they weren't going off for a break, hungry, sick, or anything of that nature, they will have their task reassigned to whatever you just threw them on. This will obviously not work if you try to throw them on something they aren't proficient in, so try to avoid putting different things too close together so you don't accidentally keep throwing them in the wrong location. Speaking of being sick, how do we handle all these different ailments? You'll need a medical bench, which unlocks at level 12. I'll give you a little bit of a cheat code here for what medicines need to be crafted for which situation, because not all of them are covered in the descriptions. Depressed and weakened requires high-grade medical supplies. Fractures and ulcers need medical supplies. Overfull, cold, and sprain just needs low-grade medical supplies. Hungry or starving, just make sure they have access to food, as pals can easily get stuck on things around base and be unable to move. Incapacitated, you will just have to pull them into your pal box and wait for the 10-minute revive timer before you can throw them back to work. Now, what's the easiest way to give these base workers their medicine? For me, I found it's just more convenient to pull them into the pal box, throw them into your party, right-click on the medicine, give it to them, and throw them back into base. This is because I've noticed in multiplayer worlds, if it isn't your pal, you can't just walk up and be given the radial menu of options to feed them directly. But anyone can pull pals out of the base and into their own pal box, so just giving them the medicine out of your inventory has been the easiest workaround for me. Other than ailments, you need to keep an eye on your pal's sanity. If this drops, they will start to work less, get stressed, or worse. To take care of this, you need to make sure everyone has a bed to sleep on. But keep in mind their size. The only bed you can craft in the beginning can only fit small pals. You may have thrown some big ones into camp and realized they may be sleeping on the ground instead. It's because they actually can't fit onto them. For some reason, you can't craft a large PAL bed until tier 36 of the technology tree. You can craft the fluffy PAL bed at tier 24, and this will help give your smaller guys better sleep. Even if there is plenty of food in your feed box, you may still have some pets that say they are hungry all the time or even starving. You'll actually need to craft better foods for them that increase sanity. This will be best achieved by the cooking pot, which is unlocked at tier 17. If you have only one PAL that needs this special food, I'd recommend feeding it to them by hand if possible. If you throw food into the first slot of the feed box, all PALs will run over to it and snatch it, and the one you wanted to have it may miss out. The last thing to really help is hot springs. You may want to build more than one if you have workers constantly going, as multiple ones are going to need breaks at the same time. You'll also be able to build a nicer one for them at tier 31. If you've made it this far and learned something new, I would really appreciate a thumbs up on the video to help boost it and help it reach more new Palworld tamers that may need some extra help. But I do have one more bonus tip for you, and that is an exploit you can do at base to skyrocket your level. If you go out exploring in the high altitude areas, whether it be in the volcanic region or the snowy region, keep an eye out for these huge dragon eggs. There's a chance that you will hatch this, a Yormantide Ignis. They have a level 4 kindling skill. This means that cooking is done almost instantly and ingots get smelted insanely fast. But did you notice that every little thing that gets made in camp gives you a small bit of XP? Well, gather up all your berries, the thousands of them you will have soon enough, and just let him be the one cooking it. Look at how much experience you get and how quickly. You could literally just line up a ton of food and ingot and let him do his thing and walk away for a few minutes. Come back and you're going to be at a higher level. This can happen with any PAL with a high proficiency like this, but he is the one I have found by far to give you the most bang for your buck. And that about covers it. I hope these tips help you to have a better grasp with what's going on around your camp so that you can take care of your pals and in return keep everything flowing at a good rate and getting you lots of materials. Thanks for sticking with me to the end because as we all know, time is coin.